Sean Connery is best known for his character-defining portrayal of James Bond. But there's a lot more to this suave Scot than his time as 007. And in this video, I'm going to take a deep dive into the life of Sean Connery and identify 4 life lessons that will be valuable and inspiring for you. So life lesson number 1 from Sean Connery: find your path. Connery had a winding and unconventional road to being James Bond. As a boy, he worked delivering milk, and then his plan was to have a military career. But after 3 years in the Navy, he was out with ulcers. Connery did not really know what he was going to do next. But he was a big fan of bodybuilding and had a very impressive physique, especially for the time. So he decided to compete in the Mr. Universe competition in London. While in London, he was spotted and invited to join the chorus of a theatre. And it wasn't until a year of doing this that he actually decided to pursue acting seriously. From then, it would be another 5 or 6 years before he eventually landed the role of James Bond. From this, I think we can learn that it's okay to pursue many different avenues. In today's society, there's a lot of pressure on young people to find their path early on. We're expected to pick a career path at the age of 18 and commit to years and years of debt in order to attain that degree. But we all know this isn't how life works. We discover new passions and new talents in our 20s and 30s. So if we were to learn a lesson from Sean Connery, it would be to ease the pressure on ourselves and keep an open mind. Allow yourself to take on a new career or a new hobby. Be open to new places and new people, because once you stop moving is when you stop growing. Lesson number 2 from Sean Connery is be adaptable. Given his working class background, Sean Connery was not an obvious choice for the role of James Bond, and author Ian Fleming was very skeptical of his ability to play the character. But Connery proved himself to be highly adaptable to the role. He transformed himself into the suave, sophisticated spy that we all know today. And there were several steps that made this transformation possible. Although he kept his Scottish accent, he toned it down and made it more clipped and refined. His mannerisms became more slow, elegant, and deliberate. And according to co-star Lois Maxwell, the director Terence Young took him to dinner, showed him how to walk, how to talk, and even how to eat. But perhaps the most important transformation for Sean Connery was with his style. When he landed the role for James Bond, he was taken to the best tailors in London: Anthony Sinclair for suits and Turnbull and Asser for shirts. A significant proportion of the budget for the movie Dr. No, the first movie, was spent on Connery's wardrobe alone. His outfits were essential not only for creating a debonair look for Connery, but also for making him feel like a new man. And the reason that I am so passionate about dressing well is because it truly does have transformative powers. So whatever background you come from, don't let that stop you from looking and feeling your best. Don't feel guilty about taking a portion of your paycheck and investing it in your wardrobe. Not only will the improvements make you look and feel better, but they can also radically change the way others perceive you, just as the James Bond clothes did for Sean Connery. Now we come to lesson number 3, which is to know your value. Although James Bond gave Sean Connery more success than anyone would have imagined, he did not allow it to hold ransom over him. In fact, quite the opposite. After the success of the first 5 Bond movies, Connery was feeling overworked and underappreciated. He decided to remind the producers the value that he had given to the franchise by walking away. So they replaced him with George Lazenby and made the movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was a total flop at the box office compared to the movies Connery had produced. Connery made it publicly known that he would not come back as James Bond unless he was paid £1 million tax-free, which is equivalent to around £8 million today. Journalists even questioned if there was that much money in the whole of England. But the producers knew that if they wanted to make another successful Bond movie, they needed Connery back. So in 1971, he got the £1 million he was after and made his return for Diamonds Are Forever, which made nearly double at the box office compared to Lazenby's movie. So I think this is a great example of knowing your worth and sticking to your guns when you're in a position of power. It's slightly Machiavellian of Connery, but he also wasn't really that interested in making another Bond movie. He was trying to break out of being typecast and explore a more diverse range of movies as an actor. So he knew he was providing the producers with more value than they were providing him. And I think it's fair to demand adequate remuneration for your work. After all, being James Bond doesn't exactly look easy. So Connery got £1 million to come back as James Bond. What did he do with his record-breaking fee? Well, that brings us nicely to lesson number 4 from Sean Connery. Give generously. He used it to set up the Scottish Education Trust, which provides funding to artists, academics, and promising individuals in Scotland who currently just don't have the financial means to advance themselves in the same way that others would. Connery had a lacking education himself, so he was well aware of the importance of learning and how empowering that could be. And the trust is still going over 50 years later, which is an incredible legacy for the late actor. And Connery didn't just give back to his community with money. Between the Bond movies, he made a documentary about the Scottish shipbuilding industry called The Bower and the Bunnet. It was his opportunity to highlight issues that were important to his community. He used his newfound platform to show the audience what was really happening in his hometown. You know, I've been looking at the lives of many fine gentlemen, both new and old, and something that consistently comes up is this idea of giving back. Connery decided to focus his giving on the people of his home country of Scotland. And this shows not only his patriotism, but how he never lost his connection to his roots, regardless of how successful he would become. There is so much we can learn from the rich life of Sean Connery. His transformation from Scottish bodybuilder to the most iconic James Bond is inspiring for anyone who wishes to become a gentleman. But Connery never lost his sense of self, always understood his value, and used his success to give back. Gentlemen, I want to hear from you in the comments. What is your favourite Sean Connery James Bond movie? Is it his breakout, Dr. No, his comeback, Diamonds Are Forever, or perhaps the iconic Goldfinger? Now, if you're feeling inspired by Sean Connery, you might be eager to dress like him too. If so, then I have the video for you. Check out my guide on how to dress like the iconic actor in the James Bond movies. I break down 3 outfits from his 60s movies and tell you the exact pieces you would need to recreate them for yourself. And I have some suggestions for some modern and affordable alternatives too. So until the next one, thank you as always for watching.